Welcome to the Hunter Report. I am here with Glow.
Hello.
And Glow's a comedian here in New York City. We're going to do a little portrait test between the Sony 90 f2.8 macro and the Sony G Master, which is a 24 to 70 f2.8. Some people don't look good with the chin up, but it's working for you.
Thank you. I have to walk that way more.
Huh?
So I need to walk that way.
Let me see you walk that way. All right, guys, now it's time to talk lens stars. On the left, we have the 90 at f8, and on the right, we have the 70 G Master at f8. Now, let me just say, quite frankly, the lens stars on both of these are weak, okay? For those of you who think that I'm some kind of corporate shill, no, I'm not. When I see a bad thing in a product, I'm going to say it. Now, these lenses are fantastic. There's many other fantastic things about these lenses. But the lens starring at f8 is weak, and I expect solid lens stars at f8. Let's take a look right here. Look at that. That's the Fuji 16 to 55 f2.8. Now, that's what I call a proper freaking lens star. Look at that. f8. Look how beautiful that is. And you compare that right here to the Sony G Master at f8. It's weak. It's weak sauce, okay? So, that's my opinion on the lens stars right here. And here's the 90 on the right. We move out to f13. The lens stars get a little more defined, but no. My Sony 24 to 70 Carl Zeiss f4 has beautiful lens stars. Absolutely beautiful lens stars at f8. That's comparable here with the Fuji. And then you look right here, 70 G Master f8. Weak sauce, okay? Thank you so much. And you thought I didn't have it in me. I definitely have it in me. And then please subscribe. Thank you so much.
Walk with you. That doesn't even feel comfortable. That's so weird. Nobody walks with their head up.
We have the 90 on the left here, and we have the G Master on the right. Let's take a look at the grass first. You can see here, there's these little artifacts on the G Master. And the whole bokeh of the grass just looks smoother. They're both at f2.8. You see that f2.8 over there and f2.8 over here. Now let's go look at some details here. Now I poured over literally 100 images, so I know that this is in focus. I know. So clearly this image is in focus right here. I mean, you could just see focus is on this eye and it's blurry there. Her shoulders are straight. Here her shoulders are at an angle. And you can see that the focal plane lines up, and you just see that this eye is in focus, this eye is not in focus. So the focal point is the same. But just looking here, right on the nose, it's just sharper. And this is at f2.8. And this at f2.8 looks like the kind of stuff I'm getting at f8 on my 70 to 200 lens. So, you know, this is what you'd want to shoot a magazine cover with, for that extra bit of sharpness. Fantastic skin like we have right here on Glow. It's the detail in the eye here. It's just the detail of the eye right here. It's just slightly sharper on the 90. And let's move on. This interesting guy walked by us, and very confident, very old. Not old, but just like in that place in life where it's like, it sounds like he has things figured out.
Yeah.
And you know, you've got to be able to channel that. You got to be interesting and passionate, and you know.
Because his voice sucks you in. Like,
yeah, that voice.
Yeah.
That voice. You got to get that voice, and then I'll be the most interesting man in the world, right? Right. Because I'm angling for that.
Right. There you go.
All right, we're back to the 90 here. Just because I was liking this shot where she sort of looks like Lauryn Hill. What do you think about that?
I'm just not as late as Lauryn Hill.
Yeah.
I actually show up to my shows on time.
For now, but wait till you get a little more famous.
There you go. Let me blow up, and then everything else is over. I'll be on that CP time.
Let me get those lips perched. Let me see some real duck lips. Selfie duck lips.
I'm not a duck lip female, so it's like
you don't do the duck lip.
Mm-mm.
I'm anti duck lip.
Yeah, I feel like it's been played out.
All right, we're gonna switch it up right here.
Yep, changing locations.
Here's the good stuff right here. This is some good stuff. Look at me a little bit. Alright, so here's another location, and here it's quite frankly harder to tell. Just a slight bit sharper over here on the 90. Just a slight bit more detail on the eyebrows. But it's just harder. Slightly different angle. You can see we're up closer here, so you should have more detail. We're about maybe a foot further back here. You should have more detail if you're a foot closer, but you don't. And if we were that foot closer right here on the 90, you'd probably see the difference we just saw in the last photo. And this really goes to show you that in a pinch, if all you had is the G Master, you're not going to be that hurting. f2.8 on both lenses. Creamy smooth bokeh in the back on both. And that's about all we can learn from this picture, from this scene.
I'm liking this. This is blue steel. This is glow steel. Hold that character. Hold that character. Let's go ahead right there. You see that switch right there? Why don't you go pop it all the way in? So we're switching to macro mode and push it forward and pull it back. All right, so that's how you switch into auto versus manual. So go back to auto, okay? And then we get steady shot and we get the Sony button, which you can customize for anything. Okay, now let's go ahead and come up to this.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ah, cool.
Ooh. Once it's in focus, gotta be in focus. Yeah, hit it. Okay, nice. Let's see what else will be interesting. Let's see what bird poop looks like up close. Bird poop. Glow.
Oh, got it.
We go hit it. Oh, look at that. Doing bird poop here, guys. So we've shot bird poop up close. If we didn't take that shot, I would have had regrets. I really would have.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I took that. There was a shot of a beautiful person today, and I didn't take it, and I have regret about that. Let's go shoot some fruit.
Alright, I didn't get this in the 70. This was strictly with the 90. But I was so inspired by the location that I just had to grab a few quick shots. And this just shows you that the kind of bokeh that you're going to produce, you're definitely getting some football-shaped bokeh here on the edge of the lens. And typically with footballing, as you go towards the center, the bokeh becomes less footballish. And it's just a beautiful shot. This is the kind of stuff that you can do with the 90.
Okay.
We're gonna shoot fruit.
We're gonna shoot fruit.
We're gonna shoot fruit.
We're gonna shoot fruit.
It makes you toot.
It makes you toot.
Healthy to boot.
Healthy to boot.
We're gonna shoot fruit.
We're gonna shoot fruit. Thanks for having me a part of this. This is awesome.
You can go find Glow on Instagram. What's your Instagram?
Glowby Jr. So GLO, B as in boy, JR.
That's right. Yeah, so go check out her Instagram. That's bigger and better things are coming up for Glow. I can feel this.
Thank you. I need that energy.
All right.
All right. Thanks, you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, let's start with the peanut factory and the peanut gallery. For all those of you who say, why are you comparing a 90 f2.8 to a G Master f2.8? The 90's at 90 millimeters. The G Master's at 70 millimeters. They're an apples to orange test. You're a terrible camera reviewer, blah, blah, blah. All right, for those of you, why don't you go ahead and just tune out of my channel right now? That would be much appreciated. Awesome. For those of you still with me, the real question is, why do you want the 90 macro? And the real question to me is, the G Master comes in at $2,200 US, and the macro comes in at $1,100. And that to me is really the point here. Let's create a premise. Let's say you don't own either of these lenses. Should you buy the macro or should you buy the G Master f2.8? Let's first paint a case of why the macro's good. Let's say you do not own a macro lens, and let's say you already own a 24-70, such as the 24-70 f4. Let's say you shoot a lot of wedding. If you don't own a macro lens and you're shooting weddings, you're not going to be able to operate at the level that all the top wedding photographers operate. Every single ring shot is shot on the macro. And yeah, it's a single shot for the whole wedding. And it's like, why are you buying a lens for a single shot? Well, wedding rings are shot on macro, period. Now, there are cheaper macro options from Sony. There's a 50 macro. Now, here's the difference between, say, the 90 macro and the 50 macro. It's the difference between 90 and 50 millimeters. You can do beautiful portrait work at both 50 or 90, and they're different things. A 90 is going to get you that nice, tight headshot, whereas that 50 is more for a full body shot, or it's more for somebody with a wide face and to make them look less wide. So let me reiterate. You shoot weddings, and you want something more telephoto than the 50, and cheaper, quite frankly, then you get the 90 f2.8 macro. Now let's take a step back. Let's start from scratch. You don't own either of these two lenses. Why do you go with one or the other, or none? Well, the 90 macro is sharper than the G Master, especially at f2.8. If you want to do a magazine cover, and I think that this shot right here is a beautiful shot, could easily be on a magazine cover. And if you want to do a magazine cover, you're going to want things as sharp as possible. You know, Vogue, Cosmopolitan, or whatever young, you know, hips, upstart, new hip-hop magazine or whatever. If you have the budget, get the 90 macro. But then it comes back to the question, why would you want the f2.8 G Master? The G Master is good for two things. Low light at its f2.8 aperture, but it also gives you the ability to get basically this same shot here. And if you didn't own the 90 f2.8 and you only owned the G Master f2.8, you can basically get this same shot here. Now, it's not as good as an f1.4 shot, but it's sort of close. It's sort of close. Now, the G Master is quite a heavy lens, coming in at basically 2 pounds, whereas the 90 macro is 1 1/3 pounds. And to me, the sweet spot is 2 pounds. I don't like carrying the G Master at 2 pounds. I just don't. I prefer lighter lenses. I prefer a 1 pound lens. I could shoot a 1 pound lens for 5 hours, and it's just a breeze. It's fantastic. But a 2 pound lens, I'm not even going to be comfortable shooting that for 2 hours. Just not. Now, for those of you tough guys out there, for those of you tough girls out there, sure, I'm not going to argue with you. If the G Master, do a lot of gym work, if you're bigger than me, if you're stronger than me, fantastic. The G Master is going to be a light product for you, and 2 pounds is not a big deal. But for me, it is. And for some of you, it also is. Now, the G Master is a much more versatile lens. And if you're willing to deal with the 2 pounds, for example, if you do a lot of tripod work, the G Master is fantastic because it gives you that low light ability. It's a fantastic videography lens that you can also adapt to low light situations. If you like to shoot a lot of late night stuff where the lighting is just not 100%, or the lighting is purposely low for mood lighting, right? You all know that conflict between the owner of a venue or the artist on stage who lower the lights, right, to set a mood, and then you as the photographer are like, oh crap, I only brought an f4. I really needed an f1.4. And then you're gonna jack up that ISO, or you're gonna push that shutter rate down, and it's just gonna change your photography. And if you know that your gig is gonna be a guaranteed low light, having that G Master f2.8 is sometimes the only thing that's going to save the day. And you need that 24-70 range and a 90 range. You know, you're going to get somebody's head on stage when you're really trying to shoot their entire body. You're trying to capture a different scene. As I showed you, the lens stars are weak on both of these. I'm not a fan. I'm a huge fan of the 24-70 by Sony Zeiss. The lens stars in that, incredible. And I also showed you the Fuji 60-55 f2.8. The lens stars on that are incredible. Now, somewhere around f13, these lenses do have decent stars, but I want that at f8. I want that max sharpness at the sweet spot around f8. Could be at f5, 6. But I want that sharpness at f8 plus the lens stars. It's the way I like to shoot. Might not be your way, to each his own. So that said, these are great offerings by Sony. Go ahead and leave some comments in the description below. Please subscribe, please give me thumbs up, and I'll see you soon.